Hello Darts Nutz, welcome to Darts Review channel. So as promised when I was doing the Target Sports unboxing video, here's the more detailed review of their new darts. And this is from their new range, the KAZE, which mean wind. And the first model in the range is these, the Ceros. I think that's how you say it. And I've got the O2 model, and I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I can see it here. The box has got a kind of reflective colour in kind of greens, blues and pinks, and the barrel's got the same kind of a coating on, so quite a beautiful looking dart. So let's check them out. As I mentioned, there's three models in the range and I'm reviewing the O2, and there's three weights in this version. I'm reviewing the 23 gram version, the 90% tungsten. They're also in 21 gram and 25 gram, 18 gram in soft tip, and the retail for £149.95. So as you can see, it comes in this fancy packaging, and it's got this kind of like effect on the box there, which is quite similar to what's on the barrels itself, kind of like a reflective diamond scale. And inside you've got the target tin and the lid's on the bottom there, and the darts are fitted with these Ceros K-Flex green flights, obviously the best colour, green, and it's got the same kind of pattern that's on the box, which is kind of representing that kind of like squared scale grip. And they're fitted with some Storm SP Swiss points, and let's get that out of the way. Underneath that you've got an acrylic stand, which I'll put together and I'll have a picture of that to show you. And underneath there you've got your Target guarantee certificate, you've got your Swiss point removal tool, little keychain, and you've got a set of different Swiss points. These are the, I think it's the LNC Swiss points, and they've got like a fairly grippy cone shaped Storm point there. There's quite a decent grip on that, so you've got an option of the 2 points there. So as mentioned, they're fitted with the Target Storm SP Swiss points, and it's a tapered front style. So you've got the tapered front there, kind of like parallel around the midsection, and then more of a taper on the rear part. Now if you look at it, depending on what kind of angle, with these kind of like squared fish scale effects, it almost looks like the dart's got a bit of a kink in this part here, but I think it's just the way the light plays on the thingies, the scales, and the angle that you look at them. So it kind of like you've got raised bits, so some that are flat and some that are raised, so it's kind of like mimicking the scales on a fish. And it's got that really nice blue DLC coating on, and you got all kinds of like light reflections playing there, and as you move it around you get blues, turquoise, purples, a little bit of yellowy colours. So it's quite an interesting effect, like an iridescent effect. But again, like a bit like the 975, it's kind of spoilt in a way, I think, for me, because it puts these sections here. I'd rather see more of this grip further to the ends, because obviously, as you know, I'm a front gripper and my natural grip is probably going to be around about there, so I'm not going to get the full effect of that nice grip. And it does have quite a nice feel to that, and anyone who's gripping around the middle is also going to lose out, because it's got that wide dreaded smooth section, the DSS. But nevertheless, the old dart is a really beautiful looking dart, and like I say, the way the light just bounces around off them kind of squares, it's really nice looking. But obviously it depends on how it flies and everything, but I do think it's kind of spoiled just a little bit with them, like I said. But that's just my own personal opinion. Obviously you might think different, but these are really milled out very nicely, and they've got kind of like a almost like an etched square pattern on it, and I think that just adds to the refraction of the light. I don't know if that's just a deliberate thing or whether it's just the result of the milling process, but it just all adds to the overall effect. And the grip itself on them sections, it's got some decent grip, but it's slightly non-uniform simply because you've got like flat sections and like triangular sections and bits that feel like they're raised up, but nevertheless it still feels rather nice. But like I said, I think I'd rather have it a little bit more uniform across the whole of the barrel. But as a whole setup, it's a good looking dart, there's no doubt about that. And as mentioned, it comes with the green K-Flex flights, so we'll have a super close look at them now. So you've got this tapered front which has got this kind of thin ring grip. It's almost like a slightly knife edge wavy ring grip, and then you've got the kind of like almost like a zigzag notch cut through it. And then as you move along you get to the kind of fish scale grip, which I mentioned is made of squares, diamond kind of squares, and you can see that like milling where it makes that kind of pattern of the square, and that almost makes it look like there's lots of little squares depending on how the light hits it, and it gives it that extra bit of refraction, and so you see all these different colours. And as you can see, they're like layered on top of each other, so you get like bits where it goes in and bits where it sticks out, just like you kind of see on scales of a fish. But you get all the different colours, the blues, greens, purples, you got some yellowy gold in there, may even be a bit of red, it's hard to tell. But the only thing is these sections are quite short, so it will depend on where your grip sits whether you're going to get any benefit from it. So around the mid you've got a DSS dreaded smooth section, but it's got some ring and groove either side, and then the diamond scale grip kind of continues on the rear, and again you've got that end part which mirrors the front with the thin ring grip. So there you go, that's the super close look at the Target Sports Japan Ceros Model 2 darts. Darts fit with the 26mm Storm SP points, and it's hard to measure it because of the weird way that the grip is angled. So I've measured the ring grip section, the longest part 14.5, and the short part of the scale grip 6mm, and then the smooth section with the ring and groove either side is 8.7mm, the shortest part of the scale grip on the next section 8.3mm, and the longest part of the ring grip 12.5mm. Length is 50mm and the widest is 7.3mm. That's 23.14 grams. 23.10 grams. And 23.14 grams. Full setup 24.55 grams. Here's the balance with nothing attached and with the supplied setup, and this is the balance with medium in between short nylon stems and standard flights. It's one of them kind of slightly awkward grips to determine, but I'd say maybe around about 6, possibly a little bit more depending on how it sits in your fingers, I think. Let's give them a throw and see how they go. Well, got the last one in the treble. I am holding it right at the front though, so I'm not getting any of that fancy scale kind of grip, so it's just the basic ring and groove grip where I'm holding it. Treble 1 champion, definitely. I don't know, my hand has been aching me since I did that long darts challenge, because where I broke my hand, when I have to do like that kind of a grip, like holding it towards the rear, I have to kind of like put a bit of tension there, and it's been bothering me, so it's kind of annoying because I mean the way the hand has to move every time I do that, it's kind of like a bit of a pain. So But there's another treble. But like I say, I'm holding it there, so I'll move it up towards the scale grip now. But even when I move it so that I'm on it as much as possible, I'm still getting some of that ring and groove grip and a little bit of the smooth part around the middle as well. So that's why I think it would have been nice if them sections were wider. I'm not quite too sure yet. This is the first go from there, so I'll try it again. Balance feels a little bit nicer, but the grip kind of feels a little bit weird. This might be one of them ones that takes a while to get the feel of it. But you've got like little bits that are kind of like sticking up a little bit, and then bits that are like flat. And I don't think it quite sits in the fingers uniformly each time. Starting to go a little bit better on them last two, but yeah, I think for me that section is just not wide enough to get the full effect of it. So for the sake of trying it, I'm going to try it around the mid part here, so mostly on the dreaded smooth section. Well, that actually flies the best there for terms of the balance and that, but you haven't got any of the fancy grip there, so I'll try it fully on the rear part now. So I think that scale grip section is a little bit wider there, so I'll get the full effect of it here, I think. Yeah, probably nice one for rear grippers and mid grippers in terms of the balance. Went spinning off a little bit there, like. One last throw from the rear grip. Yeah, managed to get a treble. But yeah, I think it does feel quite a nice grip, but it's just a slightly non-uniform feel to it. Like I say, you've got like little bits that kind of like feel grippy, and other parts where it seems to go a bit flattish. And I think the fact that you've got these kind of like wavy sections kind of intersecting into it kind of spoils it a little bit for me. But it was a bit like that on the Target 975, but I really like the grip on them, which is why I ended up making the Weaver darts. But I'm not too sure about these. It looks a beautiful dart, there's no getting away from that, but I think maybe the looks are kind of taking over a bit more of the function. So it could be a case of, if it suits you, then great. But I think mid grippers are probably a little bit hard done by having that smooth band in the middle. But I can obviously see why they've done it. They've put the silvery sections 1, 2, 3 and the little grip either end just to give it a nice look. But like I say, maybe they've gone a little bit too much for the looks rather than the function. So it could be the case of maybe one of the other models would suit me better. I may have to get them samples that I had and give them a try each and see what happens. But in terms of this particular one, it's probably not for me, but it may well be okay for you if you're a rear gripper. And if you're a mid gripper and you don't want grip, but you want a fancy looking dart, then maybe again, give it a try. So there you go. That's the Target Sports Japan KAZE Ceros 03, was it? No. It was the 02. It was the 02. 23 gram. So I'll leave you with the gallery so you can have a better look at them. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy darting.